What's up guys, Superstars and Stripes Ball Pythons here again, and I'm just going to do a quick little video on the candy gene and also the candies that I am currently working with. So here we go. So right here is the three that I'm working with at the moment. The female at the bottom left will be shipping out next week most likely, in a trade for two others to further some of my other projects. So I'm gonna go ahead and show her first. She is in shed, but here she is. And this is a pure candy, this is not a Candino. I'm gonna go ahead and take her out. And here she is with her colors. You can see those purples and yellows in there. One of the big differences between the pure candy and the Candino is the colors of the purples. That's the main trait that stands out. Like if you notice with her, the purples are a very, very deep purple. While in Candinos it takes them not only a while to develop their purples, but they never actually develop them that strongly. The purples are much more like that of a lavender, except slightly more purple, and the yellows are a lot better, in my opinion, on a Candino than a lavender. But the real key feature to tell a pure from an Eno is the eye. With pures, you'll notice that they have very dark eyes, especially compared to a regular albino. Like if you hold an albino next to a pure candy, the eye color difference is insane. So that's the main way that you can quickly identify a Candino or a candy that I've seen so far. I've seen multiple Candinos and they all have the same very light red, kind of like a really light red, almost like a slight rose color. And then you have these where their eyes are almost maroon. With adults, a lot of times, their eyes are this really deep maroon when it's almost black. It's actually pretty fascinating that that change in pigment not only occurs just on their pattern, but their eyes as well. And there she is. So I'm going to go ahead and go on. She's also in shed, so her colors are slightly different. She's usually, surprisingly, a little bit deeper than this. Every shed she actually deepens in color, and that's true with all candies, it seems, is that they deepen with color with age. Until the time of passing, they just continuously deepen. I've seen some candies that are this really rich cream color, and the purples are almost a cross between a purple and a light tan, and it's really interesting because it's not a color you usually see in any form of snake or wildlife at that. And then on top of that, you actually get to witness the color change yourself, which is pretty cool. Much different than a lavender. These develop their purples almost instantly. You can start to see them, but you really start to see the purples about a month or two in. So I'm going to go ahead and show the next one. And this one's going to be in absolutely awful lighting, so I'll definitely pull her out. But this female right here is a Spider Candy Probable Bumblebee Candy. I haven't really been able to tell yet. I'll probably have to get an ultraviolet flashlight to be able to see it. Or sorry, not an ultraviolet, a black light. Mixing up two different things. So I'm going to go ahead and pull her out. You can see that banding and colors. Her purples are already almost fading away into the dark cream color. So here she is, much lighter overall, and of course she has that funky spider attitude, except she doesn't actually do any kind of corkscrew. She just does this weird thing where wherever she moves, she always goes at a kind of a tilt, which isn't really that bad. Clearly it's not affecting her eating at all. I mean, this girl's a pig. I got her in, let me think, August, and now it's 3 months later and she has tripled in weight. She went from 155 exactly empty whenever I first got her, and now she is about 450 to 460 grams. That was before I fed her this past week, and she fed on a small rat. I know the size variation, the term small rat is a pretty loosely used term. The rat itself weighed about 70 grams, so it was perfectly fine for her. So here she is, and you can see those really nice colors, and almost like a pale white stripe going down her. As a baby, she was almost completely white. I'll have to post some pictures on my Facebook to try to show those colors and comparatively between when I first got her and now, because her colors have developed so well. Her head's actually gotten even more faint, especially in person. What makes me really think that she's going to prove to be Bumblebee and not just Spider is her lack of patterning on her head. And here she comes. As you can see, you're not seeing any of that really obvious patterning like you usually do with any kind of spider combination. Spider albino, spider candino, spider candy, they all have very prominent head patterns, and she's just lacking that, which, I mean, I would like to have the pattern on the head. I think that's a very attractive feature in a snake from the standpoint of aesthetics. But if she doesn't have it, that's fine, because that means that she has the pastel, hopefully. So that's just an extra gene to add into the project that I'll be using her for. And she's super sweet. All my snakes that have been here for at least 2 months or so have been handled regularly since a month after them coming. So this girl especially, she's more so just goofy. Another thing I've noticed actually is, I know you see this a lot in blood pythons specifically, where genes are actually tied to temperament, and I've also seen it in retics as well. And it seems like, at least from my experience, candy ball pythons in combos actually have a much better attitude than any others. Now, although that's a very small percentage of the population, not only of ball pythons in general, but candies, as I've only come across these 3 in person. I say 3. The male that I got in, that actually posted up a video of yesterday, I'm not sure if he is Candy or Candino. I'll try to prove him out and see what the best way to do that will be. I'm going to try to speak to a couple people to find out the best way to see if it's pure or Eno. Probably breed it to an albino and see if I get all Candinos. That'll probably be a really good bet. So anyways, back on the idea of temperament attached to, well, a morph. So you can see, I mean, this girl, I've been messing with her head, and I'm messing with her head right now. I mean, you can see that, and she's fine. I've noticed a lot with spiders that they're a lot more, not just alert, but they're a lot more apt to pull away or to be frightened. And for some reason with this candy gene, I've noticed that a lot of them are really, really sweet. And not only that, it's almost like they're not afraid of you at all. I mean, rather than going away from my hand, she's pushing through. I mean, you just saw it right there. She's pushing through my hand. I find that pretty amazing personally, that a morph can be tied to a temperament. You don't see that very often, especially in the ball python species. You don't see it that often. But you can see her, she's pushing into me like she's trying hard. There she goes. She almost acts like a shovel-nosed snake. She always tries to go in between my fingers whenever I hold her. Which maybe and probably is due to her more light-sensitive eyes from being in the albino complex. So I'm going to go ahead and put this girl up. Sorry for that, I was trying to reposition my camera. So here she is, and there's that stripe, that white stripe down her back, which has gotten even more prominent since I first got her. Whenever I first got her, she was this super pale yellow. I was told that out of the egg she looked almost white, and I definitely believe that. She looks, the way that gene works, the candy gene, where it deepens with age, and seeing how it's deepening where the whites were, and yet there's still some white left. I definitely believe that she was all white. So here's the male from yesterday. He's settled in very nicely. You can see, not striking, no attitude. It's actually a really good shot of him. You can see that beautiful banding. that's another thing is you notice this kind of inchy-like banding a lot in pures, in pure candy and pure toffee, which are actually the same gene, but that's a whole nother video to do. So you notice that deep banding a lot, whereas in Candinos, I've noticed that Candinos take more from albinos as far as pattern, where Candies actually have a very different pattern. Out of the egg, they look very similar, and it's hard to distinguish Candy from Candino. But once they get into adults, I don't know if it's the illusion that the banding, the colors are creating where it makes it seem so different. But you usually notice Candinos having more so like that pattern, not this incredible inchy-like pattern. Whereas right there, I know a lot of people may actually think that that's an inchy banana combo or something along those lines. So here he is, and this is why I think he's a pure. You can see his head is extremely dark, so is his banding, whereas in Candinos you get a much lighter. I've seen multiple adult breeder Candino males and they just do not look like this. His sides right there, you're not getting a solid color yellow and a very light yellow like you see in Candinos or albinos. You're getting this very odd, it's almost like an eggshell color around the outside. It's a very odd coloring to describe. I can't really describe it. It's something you have to see in person. But those eyes right there, that just screams candy to me, just pure. Those eyes are so deep. The camera's definitely doing a very good job of picking up relatively the contrast between the eye and the face, but in person her eyes are so maroon that they almost look a shade of brown. So this guy is pretty amazing in my opinion. He's really nice. He's just sitting there, very alert, very attentive. I'm not going to handle him or mess with him too much. I'm going to go ahead and close this back up. So these are all doing really well. I don't have a specific quarantining rack, that's why these are all in here together. But I did switch them all over to paper towel. That one down there was what he was originally going to go into, but I decided to give him as much space as possible. And he seems to definitely enjoy that. I have a hide that I usually put in there. That's this hide right here that I sterilized before he got here. So all these have been sprayed down with both Prevenamite and also previously before that I had done a full cage cleaning of all of them, and also the rack itself on the tops especially. Because a lot of times what you'll see is, here's just a relatively empty one, it's just got some aspen left in it. Up under here, moisture will collect, which can definitely harbor bacteria or diseases. So I made sure to clean all that off, put down paper towel. I haven't noticed any problems at all. Definitely no mites. I mean, here, I'll go ahead and open this up again so you can see him. Just pure white paper towel. He's doing very well. I almost want to keep my my normal pure candy girl to breed with him to make a bunch of pures, but just I want more diversity in my collection, and although what I'm getting really isn't going to be offering that much diversity aesthetically, genetically it's going to be a whole new, basically, makeover for my collection. So I'm going to go ahead and end it with these two together so that you can kind of see. I'm going to go back and forth. You can see that coloring. He actually has a much more candy-like coloring. This is what you more so see with Candies. And that's simply due to the fact that he is actually 2 years old and she is about 9 months or so. 9 to 12 months old. And there's also about a 200 gram difference here. She's at about 600 to 700 and he's at about 900. So she's growing really well, and so is he. They're both doing great. It's just that you can really see just how much they develop over time. And it's really, I've noticed that it's not so much a size thing as it's time. You have to give it time to develop. Unlike some other morphs where the color change is almost completely dependent on size. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here and show these two once again. Candy Girl and Shed. What I believe to be a pure candy, but I'm just going to be calling a Candino until proven otherwise. Although he definitely looks candy. So I'm going to go ahead and end this right here. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.